should wait till at least the first couple of people. Oh, I see. The message is left.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Shooting B-roll?
Yeah, just get some B-roll.
Do you have on any lipstick? Most importantly.
Do I need lipstick? No, I
No,
don't.
do I need No.
You good.
Hello and welcome to Kim Ogg's Justice Matters Teletown Hall. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Lane Lewis. I am the chairman of the Harris County Democratic Party, and I am here with your district attorney candidate, Kim Ogg, along with Mac McGinnis, one of our judicial candidates. He's going to be talking here in a moment. We are going to be taking your questions, and in the meantime, she's going to be talking about her vision. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, just press 0 on your phone. So if you want to make a comment or ask a question, press 0 on your phone. Kim, tell us a little about yourself.
Lane, thank you so much for having me on tonight. I am the Democratic nominee for Harris County District Attorney. The DA's job is to represent the people in all criminal matters, violations of law in Harris County. While there are dozens of judges, there is only one district attorney in Harris County, and the DA is the top law enforcement and criminal justice official. I'm a native Houstonian. My parents were in public service, Jack and Connie Ogg. My dad was in the state senate, so I grew up in politics and watched people try to make this world a better place, and they inspired me. My vision for the Harris County DA's office is a leadership position that really makes taxpayer money work to keep our communities safer. Instead of spending millions of dollars punishing low-level drug offenders, I'd rather put them to work and use those same resources to go after the real criminal.
Thank you, Kim. We've got a lot of people joining us here on the line. Let me ask people that are joining, if you think the Harris County justice system is fair, press 1. If you disagree, press 2 for no. If you're not sure, press 3. Again, if you think that the Harris County justice system is fair, press 1 for yes, 2 for no, or 3 for not sure. Again, my name is Lane Lewis. I am the chairman of the Harris County Democratic Party, and I am here with your Democratic District Attorney candidate, Kim Ogg, for her Justice Matters Tele-Town Hall. If you have a comment or a question, press 0. Kim, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your GRACE program?
Lane, GRACE is the future of misdemeanor marijuana prosecution in Harris County under a new administration. Right now, the current DA is spending $10 million a year incarcerating about 12,000 people a year for possession of misdemeanor marijuana amounts. I want to put those people to work doing community service, cleaning our bios. They will be summoned at the scene of what used to be the arrest by the officer who finds them in possession. They'll go straight to court. Once they go to court, they'll be offered a plea bargain, and that plea bargain will be 2 days community service. If they show up in court, show up at the community service site, clean the bio for 2 days, they will not have a permanent criminal record. We call it no jail, no bail, no permanent record if you earn it.
Fascinating, very innovative. Let's talk about the grand jury system for a second, Kim, and I want Mac McGinnis to chime in here in a minute. Kim, talk to us about the grand jury system.
Lane, right now, most of our communities in Houston and Harris County feel that the grand jury system is an unfair body. Every person accused of a crime that's felony has a right to appear in front of a grand jury. It's supposed to be a jury of their peers to decide whether there's probable cause to believe they committed the crime they're accused of. But we employ in Harris County what's known as the key man system. Lisa Falkenberg of the Houston Chronicle has called it pick-a-pal because the judge of the convening grand jury selects the foreman, who then selects their friends to be on it. You necessarily then have a group of people who know each other, and those people generally reflect the judges' makeup, socioeconomic group, race, party. So you have a lot of folks in the community who are left out of that process, mostly minority members from the African American, Latino, Asian communities. You also don't have many young people on it. I'm proposing that we talk to our legislators and lead the effort to get Harris County judges to employ a randomly selected grand jury system.
Mac McGinnis is here with us. He's one of our judicial candidates. Mac, you have extensive experience working with the courts downtown. Talk to us for a second.
Well, I'd first like to say that the best student I ever had was Kim Hogg when I was teaching at South Texas College of Law, and I think she's just given you a good summary of the problems with the Pick-a-Pal system. Lisa Falkenberg and numerous other commentators call it the Pick-a-Pal system. It's formerly known as the Key Man system. In addition to Lisa Falkenberg's 5 to 6 articles in the Houston Chronicle in the last 3 months, we've had 2 articles in the Washington Post. The problem with the system is, and by the way, the pure Pick-a-Pal system that's used in Harris County is used only in Harris County and one other county in Texas. Most counties in Texas use either a random selection process or some hybrid process whereby you have a grand jury commissioner. The grand jury is picked by commissioners. There are 3 to 5 commissioners. Those commissioners are picked by the judge. That's the Pick-a-Pal system. Some counties now are saying, well, let's randomly select the commissioners, then let them select the grand juries. Others are saying, let's randomly select both. I think we should have a random selection process, which is what is used in most Texas counties.
I believe we have Robert on the line.
Yes. Hello?
Hi, Robert.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing great.
Okay, my question is, I would like to know what would the new district attorney do dealing with police corruption where an officer kills a citizen and clearly the citizen had not committed a crime? How would she handle that situation?
Very timely question, Robert. Sounds like Ferguson, doesn't it? I think that we're all afraid that our city could be the next Ferguson because people feel so disenfranchised with the results of the police shootings. In the last 230-plus cases, no police officer has been indicted in Harris County for shooting or killing a citizen. And it's just hard to imagine that any one group is right all the time. So I propose that we change our grand jury system, just as Garland McGinnis suggested, to a randomly selected grand jury system where we have more minority representation, more youth representation, more diversity, period, on our grand juries to decide whether our police officers are justified in their shootings. The way the DA can specifically help is to refuse to send cases to grand juries that are not randomly selected. Now, right now, there are certain judges acting on the community's will to change the grand jury system. But those who won't change it, we don't have to take cases to them. That's the district attorney's discretion. So we're going to change that system one way or the other by refusing to participate or by only participating with judges who are using a fair system.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. I believe we have Clark McCullough. Clark McCullough. Hello, Clark. Clark? Let's go to Benny. Hi, Benny.
Hello?
Benny.
Hello?
Is this Benny or Clark?
Oh, this is Jimmy Williams, calling from the Clark residence.
Oh, well, fantastic. What can we do for you tonight? What question do you have for Kim Hogg?
My question is, I'm an African-American, and until maybe 3 years ago, I had no clue that the Republicans had been in control of this state for 20 years. My question, though, is why hasn't the Democratic Party not put money in, but poured money into Harris County to get the black, the Hispanic, the young people and women's vote out. I have never seen a Democratic worker, street worker in my neighborhood canvassing, putting out signs or anything like that. And why is it that we have these people like Ted Cruz and Louis Gohmert and Steve Stockman who are openly racist bigots being trumpeted as the leaders of the state of Texas? Why isn't the Democratic Party doing something? That's my question.
Well, I think it's a fair question, but I would challenge you on, I realize that may be your experience, but I can tell you this year that the Harris County Democratic Party spent over half of its budget in the last 6 months specifically trying to reach out and educate individuals in the African American community about the importance of the justice system and the importance of electing Democrats here in Harris County. I will also say that in 2008 and 2012, the Democratic Party spent a significant amount of money here in Harris County helping to educate and turn out African American votes. I would also say that part of the evidence of that outreach is the fact that Barack Obama is the first president to carry, the Democratic president, to carry Harris County since Lyndon Baines Johnson. Believe it or not, Barack Obama was the first Democratic presidential candidate to carry Harris County since Lyndon Baines Johnson, and we helped him do that not just once, but twice. So there can always be more done, but I think we're doing a very good job so far this year.
Okay, then. That was my question.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Benny. Benny has a question. Hi, Benny.
Yes. If the Democrats get elected, what would they do to improve my community and my surrounding areas? Legally, law enforcement and education-wise.
Well, let's take that in a couple of parts. Some of what I think you're hoping to have addressed would be done on the municipal level, would be done with your city council and through your mayoral election, which will take place next year. But I think there's a lot that the Democratic Party can do this year on a judicial level, both at the courthouse and at the DA. Kim, Matt?
Well, Benny, I want to make your community safer. I want to make every neighborhood in Houston and Harris County safer. I've lived in about 10 different neighborhoods, lived here all my life except when I went to college. And I can tell you, small businesses and homeowners are being plagued by burglars. People are being robbed, and unfortunately, way too many people are being murdered. Many of these crimes are committed by gang members. I think we need a coordinated plan led by our DA to strategically target the few individuals in the community who are committing a way disproportionate amount of the crime. That takes strong leadership. Right now, our DA claims the only cases she can take are the ones the police bring them. I say we can suggest to the police by talking to their mayors and their police chiefs what their constituents want and what they want us to be protected in their homes. So I think we just need strong leadership. We can also get off the backs of small-time drug users. They are not the people who are making the community less safe. But we don't want to fail to hold them accountable. So I want to put them into community service and let the community get something back. Instead of paying to jail them, let's get some work out of them.
And I also want to address the education.
Okay, you answered. That was a good response.
Benny, the Republican Party in the last few years has cut $5 billion out of public education. There is a direct link between education, poverty, and the Republican Party continues to just gut public education for our children. $5 billion over the last few years. That is just unacceptable. And I'm an educator myself. I taught in the classroom for a number of years, and I know the difference between being able to effectively teach 20 students in a classroom versus the 32 kids in a classroom that the Republicans want our teachers to have to teach. I believe we have Tony. Hi, Tony. Hi, Tony.
How y'all doing?
Hello,
Yeah.
Tony.
All right.
My question was, why the police always killing black folks, but what y'all was talking about the $5 billion, I know about that too. That's just not right. They took money from HISD for no reason in all these schools, and then you want to know why stuff is happening. People, these kids not learning. It just ain't right. And I vote Democrat.
You know
and
what?
I'm gonna vote Democrat.
Tony, thank you. You know what? I think the Republican motto ought to be incarceration instead of education. We need education instead of incarceration. And to echo what Kim was saying about, Kim was director of Crime Stoppers, and she increased their budget. She did everything for Crime Stoppers. She stopped crime, but she didn't hurt small people doing it. Let me tell you something about it's so easy for a district attorney to say I have a good conviction record when I've convicted 10 kids of possession of a small amount of marijuana. I've sent 10 black kids to prison.
And then they got truckloads of the other stuff with other people. I'm not gonna say what race, whatever, and they get probation and get a chance to go to these big old places. But these young black kids get stopped with little bitty pieces of stuff, and they end up with 20, 30 years.
It's not
right.
It's even worse than that. What else is happening is, remember, we had, if you've been reading the paper for the last year or so, we had something like 15,000 rape kits that weren't processed. We had a police officer who behind straight grand juries and ended up probably convicting somebody falsely of capital murder, and yet at the same time the evidence was found, the phone records were found in the home of a detective. We had homicide cases that weren't prosecuted because we had a homicide police officer that I honestly believe if Kim Ogg had been the DA, he would have been prosecuted. The thing is, it's so easy to look at a long record and say you're convicting people, but if you're convicting the wrong people, you're not doing anything to make the community safer.
And one of the ways we can fix a big portion of these problems is by voting. Early vote starts tomorrow. If you're eligible to vote by mail, you can contact the Democratic Party. But remember, early vote starts tomorrow. So get out and vote, and then we will be able to fix some of these issues. Carol Simon, I believe, is on the line. Carol? Hi, Carol. Hi, Carol. Carol? Well, what she's asking about is, she says, why did it take so long for a community leader, let's see, Miss Ogg, when one gets shot, if it's not high profile, not much happens.
Amen. There's a homicide detective named Ryan Chandler who failed to investigate 24 murders. He changed offense reports, and the chief of police himself asked for criminal charges to be filed. Our DA refused to even investigate him. I can tell you the statute of limitations has not run on that. That homicide detective was engaged to a prosecutor in our current DA's office. I think that insider double standard has got to go. My opponent says she's for crime victims. Well, what about those 24 families whose loved ones' cases were never even investigated? So I can tell you, I promise to give crime victims a powerful say at the DA's office. I think their wishes need to be listened to. I'm not saying I'll always agree with them or do what they say, but you will always have an open door to the district attorney.
Thank you. How about Bob? Bob has a question about open carry, I believe. Bob? Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hi. Thank you. First of all, I've never participated in one of these meetings, and it's very refreshing to at least get a direct point of view. I have two questions. My first one is on open carry, and what is your attitude towards guns and open carry for citizens?
I was originally, back in the day, against the concealed carry licensing process. I can tell you I've had a license now for the last 5 years. When that law first was written by Jerry Patterson, I was afraid, much like my boss Johnny Holmes at the time, that there would be a spike in crime. There wasn't. I don't have a problem with open carry because I don't have a problem with concealed handgun licensing. I was wrong. My initial impression was that there would be more crime. There hasn't been. Now, that said, we better employ a careful screening process because it is easy, I think, for the wrong people to get guns in their hands and sometimes licenses in their wallet. So my thought is DPS is a pretty overworked group. I hope they can handle the screening process effectively and efficiently, but I would not stand in the way if lawmakers want to pass that bill. I won't have a vote in the legislature, but I can tell you I was wrong the first time, and I'm open to it.
Again, this is Lane Lewis. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have another question, Bob?
Just a short question. I'm hearing in this community, I'm not hearing a lot about Citizen Watch and people who have their own self-protection organizations. And I'm from Miami-Dade County, Florida, where there was a lot of support for that kind of activity. Is there anything under your administration that would or could help neighborhoods put together a Citizen Watch and a way to protect each other?
You know, Florida's had some of the most controversial Citizen Watch issues with the murder or the shooting of Trayvon Martin. So I believe in Citizen Watch programs, but it's the same thing I said about concealed carry. You need training. You need a good organization, I think, within the neighborhood civic association or super neighborhood group to ensure that the people that are on it are rational, are good citizens, and know what to do. I ran Crime Stoppers for 6.5 years, and Crime Stoppers has been the most effective citizens crime tips hotline paying cash rewards for anonymous information in the world. So I'm pretty big on citizen participation. I think you're the eyes and ears of the community. There's new apps out that allow people to photograph crime, send in anonymous tips, but as you may know, police they're very resistant to accepting that kinds of evidence, and I can tell you I'm going to lead the charge to make sure that citizens have a direct way to send law enforcement that information. We need it. Whether they want to gather it or not, we need it. So we're going to be open to it.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you calling in. Again, this is Lane Lewis. I am the chairman of the Harris County Democratic Party, and we are joined here on the Kim Ogg Justice Matters Tele Town Hall. Kim Ogg is your Democratic candidate for district attorney. We're also joined here by Mac McGinnis, a civil prosecutor with the Harris County Attorney's Office and a criminal lawyer for, 32 years. Isn't that right, Matt?
That's right.
Well, we also have Valerie Carter now on the line. Valerie?
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on the line. This is my first time participating in one of these town halls, and thanks a lot. A couple of things that I've heard being discussed. One is the gun law. I actually struggle with hearing you say that because of all of we'll just start with the cops. I am an African-American woman, and I have seen so many police officers harassing minorities. I feel that they're getting pulled over. I've actually witnessed a sheriff here in town pull over and drag out of a car an African-American pregnant woman. And so I struggle when I hear that. And even in my neighborhood, I have a great neighborhood that we live in. However, it's not that many African-Americans in the area, and they are really, really, I almost want to say it's like vigilante out here. So when I hear you say that, and I was actually getting ready to support you, but when I hear you say that, I really struggle. Could you please tell me, how would you address my question? I'm getting ready to give it to you. My question, how would you address the vigilante, the ones that are going out there targeting, even the cops, that are targeting minorities?
I would go after them by prosecuting them if there was evidence to show that they committed a crime. So the policeman who dragged the citizen out of the car, I think that dash cameras would go a long way in providing sound evidence that then could be used to diverse grand juries to seek indictments against cops who use too much force. So that's the answer to that question. We need evidence. When a policeman uses too much force, there should not be a double standard in reviewing his case or her case. Secondly, if a citizen decides to carry a concealed weapon right now, we do so at our own peril. Just because we have a license to have a gun doesn't mean that it's always the safest to have by a policeman. It's in the training, they have you go through scenarios about telling the policeman you have a license, where the gun is, etc. But we know, at least I know, I carry that when I do at my own peril. If the legislature were to change the law, because remember, I can't change I don't have a vote about whether weapons are going to be able to be carried in a visible way or not. That's your legislature. I just said I wouldn't stand in the way of it. I would suggest that citizens know and be informed that could be a very dangerous thing for them, especially in a minority community. So I think you have to punish wrongdoers based on evidence. I don't think that we should make laws or prohibit laws from being made because there's a danger of something happening. I think we just have to know that's the risk, and that's what a vote in the legislature is for, to assess that risk and decide if their constituents want them to vote one way or the other.
I've been voting for over 30 years, so I do understand it's a vote. My question to you is how do you feel? I know that we have to, how do you feel, or what would you do about the cops that are out there targeting minority areas? That's my concern, and you are, as a judge, you were a judge. How do you feel about that? And I know that you know everything because it's all over the news. That's my concern.
Okay, I wasn't a judge. I was a prosecutor, and now I'm a defense lawyer. And I'm not, I would prosecute cops who use too much force against a citizen. But there's got to be evidence. I'm telling you, the citizens got to come forward. They got to testify. And if we had cameras in police cars, there would be additional evidence.
And one of the other things that I believe HPD is beginning to institute, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, is actual uniform cameras as well. So
body cam.
Body cam, so when they get out of that vehicle, they are still lit up.
Yeah, and we'd prosecute them. If there's evidence, then they'll be charged like any other citizen.
And just to say one other thing, plug that in, Valerie, we were talking about the grand jury. Don't you know, like that shooting of that man in South Carolina, you know, they charged him with a crime of shooting that poor innocent fella at the gas station, right?
Correct.
You notice the grand jury didn't indict right away. That's taking some time. There's a grand jury that's still on hold in Ferguson. What if you had a grand jury that was randomly selected of fair people, a grand jury that wasn't run by friends of the judge? Don't you think?
I love that question you're asking. That's an excellent question.
Well, thank you, Valerie. Let's go to Natalie Johnson. Natalie Johnson, and while Natalie is coming on the line, ask yourself this. Do you believe that the grand jury system needs reform? The grand jury system needs reform. If you strongly agree, press 1. If you agree, press 2. If you're indifferent, press 3. If you disagree, press 4. If you strongly disagree, press 5. So you strongly agree, press 1. Strongly disagree, press 5. The grand jury system needs reform. Ms. Johnson, are you there? Before you take it with HDR preview on the Samsung Galaxy, purchase the GS5. Let's go to Kevon Lewis. Kevon Lewis, you have a question about police in the neighborhoods. Hi, Kevon, you're on.
All right. Yeah, my question is, well, before I do my question, I'll just kind of give a quick background to me. I'm a 28-year-old black male who in a police school program called DARE. Have never had a positive interaction with the police officer. So my question is, you know, we know all about the negative things that happens with urban minorities and cops. But my question is, who will be the first one? Is it be a Republican or a Democrat who's going to come up with a program to, you know, show cops in a positive light with urban minorities? therefore, sometimes that, urban minorities can look at cops and be like, okay, well, maybe they're not the bad guys.
I think that most police officers, I would say 99% of the cops that I've ever known or worked with, want to protect and serve their community. A few bad apples act overzealously, may have motives that aren't lawful, but that is a tiny minority. So I think that it's important, just as you're saying, that we don't make the exception the rule by overgeneralizing. That's why it's easy to say where there's evidence that a cop acted overzealously, I would prosecute. I don't think that anybody's suggesting there should be a double standard for police officers, one for them and one for us. And it's true, most cops are trying, I think, to protect and serve.
Well, I mean, are cops allowed, like, for instance, if, the cop may be sitting in the parking lot, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's on lunch, and he sees a couple kids, maybe playing a football, would it take too much time, or is it, within that cop's range to go out and show that, hey, we're here for you guys, matter of fact, let me see the ball, I'll throw you guys the ball, just some kind of positive reinforcement, not even as far as the back end with the prosecution, even before we get to that point, even with the small kids, just making a positive face, because the only time the urban minority see the cops is when, there's something negative going on. It's just that we don't have the other face of the cops to show them in a positive light that us in the urban minority need, because without that, then we're stuck with the stereotype that'll just keep going. We're not trusting cops, and cops not trusting us. But somebody has to make the first move, and it can't really be the citizens. It has to be the cops. They're here to protect us and serve us. So it's be up to them to make the first move to, fix the relationship boundaries.
Absolutely, I agree with you. This is Mac McInnes. I'm a candidate for criminal district judge. You've seen, I'm sure you've seen the things that go viral on the video where a police officer stopped and bought some shoes for a homeless fella. That's the kind of thing we need in the community. And one of the ways to get that is have the diversification in your police departments. Diversity is the answer. And not only diversity in training. Once again, I come back to that, I know it sounds like a slogan, but it's true. We need more education and less incarceration. If we could train police officers, give them more training and sensitivity in the neighborhoods. I know that used to be a big focus of police departments in the past. After all the riots happened in the late 60s and 70s, there was this period of time when police departments became more diversified. You had things like the first black police chief in Los Angeles and that sort of thing, and it was a step in the right direction. But then what happened is we had the budget cutters come in, and we sort of went backwards on that one a little bit. I agree with you 100%. Kim is right. There's so many good police officers. And, I know police officers that are gay. I know police officers that are black. I know police officers that are brown. And I know police officers that are white that are very good police officers. And you know what? I know some very bad ones, too.
This is Lane Lewis. I'm the chair of the Democratic Party. I served on the Community Review Board for a number of years at HPD. And at that time, there was a strong community presence, community policing sort of mentality under Chief Nucci and Chief Bradford and others. I think that's important. I think there should be a lot of community input. Again, this is Lane Lewis. I'm the chair of the Democratic Party. I am here with Kim Ogg, who is running for district attorney. If you like what you hear, I hope you'll be voting a straight Democratic ticket. Voting starts tomorrow. Early vote starts tomorrow, and we're encouraging everyone to vote a straight ticket for the Democratic Party. Christopher Edward Moore, I believe you are here with a question. If you have a question, everybody out there, you can press 0. Just press 0 if you would like to ask a question. Christopher.
Yes, sir.
What can we do for you tonight?
Okay, someone made mention of making the community safer. So question number 1 is, how or what would you do specifically to make our community safer? That's question number 1. And also someone mentioned that the small people are the ones that's hurting the most. And throughout time, this has always been the case. So with that being said, what would be done for the ones hurting the most to have or get a better chance in life? What would you do for them?
This is Kim Ogg. My specific plan for making the community safer from burglars is as follows. We should strategically map through modern technology, which is not rocket science, the burglaries that are occurring all over the county. To do that, we need a strike force. We need information coming from the different law enforcement agencies about where the burglaries are occurring. We can then map the patterns that emerge and look for similarities in the modus operandi of the burglars. Once we do that, I think we're going to be able to target a few individuals who are committing lots of these car and business crash burglaries and even the home burglaries. I think those are being committed by organized crime crews or gangs. Secondly, we can make plea bargaining more difficult for burglars, implement a no probation by plea bargain philosophy at the DA's office. The way we pay for jailing more burglars, which would make your community safer, is by not jailing the 12,000 people arrested every year for a misdemeanor amount of marijuana. They sit in jail for generally an average of 5 days. It's on your dime. I'd rather put them to work cleaning the bio and getting the community a benefit for that arrest. And in return, we won't give them a permanent criminal record. So I think it encourages young people who might make mistakes with drugs or even middle-aged people to know that they've done wrong, but they're not going to be receiving a life sentence through a permanent criminal record. That'll make it easier for them to get work and have one less excuse for not getting work. And the guys who intend to hurt the neighborhood by burglarizing businesses and homeowners, they will know they're going to jail, and they're going to go for longer than they're going now. Our current DA is prosecuting a lower number of burglaries than in the last 6 years. The focus is all wrong. It's all on people with small amounts of drugs and not on the folks who are really hurting our neighborhoods.
Next up, we have Anita. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Anita?
Yes, I wanted to know where would I go to early vote in Alief.
Let me give you a phone number for you to call, and you can call us right back, or if you'd like to hold the line, I believe we have the capacity to hold the line, and we can bring you back once we get that information for you.
Okay.
I think he stepped out.
I'll just stay on, and I'll get the number later. But I wanted to continue to listen.
All right. I believe you're in Spring Branch.
She says Alief.
No, Alief, Texas.
Alief, Texas. Well, just number 16. No, that's not. All right. Tracy G. Do you know where the Tracy G Community Center is? On
I can
West
find
Center?
it. Okay, I can find it.
It's at 3599
Okay.
West Center Drive.
It's just over inside the Beltway. It's probably the closest one to Alief.
Yeah, they have a real nice community center over there, just right by the toll road. And it's called the Tracy G Community Center. Let me give you the phone number of the Democratic Party, and if that doesn't work for you, you call us back and we will find another location that is convenient for you. This is Lane Lewis, and the Democratic Party number is 713-802-0085. Again, 713-802-0085. We have another caller here that has a question about mental health therapy. She wants to know what Kim's opinion is of convicted felons receiving mental health therapy. Are you there? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask you,
Yes, ma'am?
We lost her.
Well, I think we lost her, but she had a question about mental health therapy in the jail system. Kim, go ahead and take it.
Right now, the Harris County Jail is the largest mental health provider in the state of Texas. That's just wrong. It costs taxpayers $475 a day to give people basic mental health care in the jail. We can do it for much less out on the street. So when somebody who's mentally ill is charged with a nonviolent crime, I'm proposing that we look at their risk factors, and if there's a good chance that they're going to return to court and face the criminal charges so long as they can get mental health treatment from MHMR, the Mental Health and Mental Retardation group in the county, then we should make a condition of their bond treatment with that group while out of jail. And then they can report to court and face the music for whatever it is they're accused of if they're guilty of that. But we've got to stop incarcerating people basically because they're mentally ill. We have a lot of folks who are arrested repeatedly on trespass, vagrancy. They're homeless, they're mentally ill, and that's not a crime.
Let's talk to Elizabeth. Elizabeth has a question about innocent individuals being tried. Elizabeth? Hi, Elizabeth. Yes, ma'am.
My question was, why when somebody they go to jail for a crime, but they find out they didn't do it and they throw it out, why when you go into the jail, it's still showing they've been to jail?
Mac, you want to answer that?
Well, I want to make sure I've heard the question. You mean like when a person when we find out from DNA that they're innocent, then they still have to sit in jail and wait? Is that what you're talking about?
No, they're not in jail, period. They go to jail for a crime, but they didn't do it. And then so happen they find out they didn't do it, so they throw it out. They're not guilty. They just throw it out. But still, it's showing, if you call down there, it's showing that they ain't been to jail, though. Why is that?
That is wrong. If that's happening, that's a problem.
Well, that's true.
That's a problem with the record. With that, I'll tell you what. I know of it, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I know of a specific case where an individual not only was shown to be not guilty, but it actually applied for and received an expunction, and then later it was determined that one of the two agencies that should have erased the record had not erased the record. That's a matter of record keeping. That is just dead wrong. We have some statutes on the book that say that if that make it a misdemeanor to keep the records in such a way that a person is harmed by them later. The problem is those sorts of statutes are never enforced, and they should be.
Well, and another way we can solve this is to vote a straight Democratic ticket to get these individuals in office so that we can begin to fix some of these problems. And I know that our listeners agree. A while ago I asked if they felt that the grand jury system needed reform, and 86% of those listening here on the line with us today agree that the grand jury system needs reform. There's only one way to do that, and that is to elect Democrats so that the Republican pick-a-pal system can get sent packing. Let's talk to Rhonda Lee Jackson. Rhonda?
Hello?
Hi, Rhonda.
I am not Rhonda. Rhonda Lee Jackson is my daughter. She's out of the country at this time.
Well, tell her what can we do for you?
I'm Mrs. Bertha Ann Jackson, a lifelong Democrat. And I have two questions to ask. One, I'd like to know what is the criteria used to select grand jurors?
All right. Right now, here's how the grand jury system works in reality. The way it works in reality right now is the judge picks someone, usually sometimes described as a prominent citizen, 3 to 5 people, and then those people pick the grand jury. Now, the problem is that's called the commissioner system. The problem with the commissioner system is most counties in Texas have switched to some sort of hybrid system wherein you randomly select the commissioners instead of picking somebody that's your best friend. Because here's what happens when you pick friends. You get a police officer that's served on 9 separate grand juries. You get a woman who served on 5 separate grand juries and ended up being on the grand jury that investigated D.A. Likas when she was a D.A. That's the sort of thing that you get because you have friends of the judge picking the grand jury. The grand jury should be as independent as the jury that tries a case. A grand jury indicting a case actually has much more power than a jury because a grand jury indictment, a lot of people get indicted who later don't get convicted, but the indictment sticks with them. You know, there's an old saying that criminal lawyers used to use. They used to say that you can get the skunk out of the jury box, but you can't get the smell out. If you get indicted, you've got a smell that stays with you the rest of your life. We need to clean up this grand jury system in Harris County.
And I'm glad he brought that up. That's one of the reasons why we need to be voting a straight Democratic ticket. These these judges that are running, they make decisions that affect not just the individuals that are in the courthouse or being tried. They affect generations of family members, older and younger, children to be, grandchildren. That affects the employers. If an individual is arrested and brought up for some minor drug offense, for example, well, their employer now has to fill that position while they're sitting in jail on a minor drug offense, something of that sort. So I appreciate you calling, ma'am. Let's talk to Miss Lynn. Lynn, you are a parent of an HISD student, I believe, Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Yes. Hi.
Hello, hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, talk to us.
Okay, I'm an HISD parent, and my son attends a high school with over 3,000 students. And on several occasions, I've gone to his school, and I've only noticed like 2 security guards or policemen or HISD police. And with the growing violence in today's school, what would be done about that? Because I noticed some schools have more security than others, and that's a growing concern for me.
All right, thank you, Lynn.
I am a former HISD parent as well, and I have seen a big difference in the way certain school principals handle security. And so it comes down to the individual principal's decision about how many cops they're going to hire or security officers they're going to employ. The HISD police are generally not permanently assigned to a school, and so that's within the principal's discretion as well. So what we did when I ran Crime Stoppers is we offered cash rewards and anonymous reporting for guns on school campuses. And during the 6 years that I ran that program, we got over 500 guns off campuses all over the county. They weren't all HISD, but I thought that made kids safer everywhere. So I would encourage Crime Stoppers to continue that program. I don't hear much about Crime Stoppers these days. I'd like to promote them more when I become the next DA, because that was an effective, it doesn't cost taxpayers a dime, and it sure made kids safer.
Hi, Leland. Leland, you have a question about how prosecutors are promoted.
Yes, my question is any way that you can, the changes on the promotion of DAs, because they runs by the convictions that they have, and it goes to convict innocent people just to get a promotion or be recognized that they have more convictions. Not interested in, or what they, not saying all of them, is interested in the cold facts of the case. So you have a lot of innocent people going through there because they want to increase their convictions.
I think I think it's terrible that the public believes that to be true, and we have to change the culture of prosecution in Texas. It is a quality game to make in neighborhoods safer. We have to be arresting and prosecuting the right criminals. And that's actually the job of the DA, to see that justice is done, not just to convict. So I don't know if that's individual prosecutors' real motives. I know that they get that the community basically feels that way about them, and I think we're going to have to prove through strong leadership that we're not interested in the number of convictions. We're interested in getting the right criminals and making sure that we're spending tax dollars in a way that truly makes people safer, not just puts a whole lot of people in jail.
Hi, Karen. Karen, you have a question about mental health treatment?
Yes, I have a daughter that's been in and out of jail because of long-term drug use, doing little things after she, get on drugs or whatever. But I was thinking, would the congressmen be able to come together to think about a plan to make it mandatory for people like this that's been in and out of jail, which that's not helping them to come to some type of plan to make them get rehab or make it mandatory that they get rehab treatment? Because they're not just going to voluntarily sign up for it.
Right. So, Karen, I believe your question is, what can we do for repeated drug offenders other than just incarcerate?
And especially repeat drug offenders with mental illness.
Correct.
There's got to be an integration of the information that's collected by the mental health provider, MHMR, in this county, and the people who run the jail, as well as the people who run the front door of the criminal justice system, namely the DA. So if somebody has been treated for mental health in the past, it would be pretty darn important for the DA at the intake division. That's where the DAs decide whether they're going to allow the police to put people in jail and actually file a charge. It's pretty darn important that they know who has and has not been treated by mental health providers. And while they won't sign up for it, if it's a choice they have between staying in jail and getting treated and being out on bond and being treated, I would think that many would select being on bond. And making treatment by MHMR a condition of that bond should help get them the treatment that they need without doing it in jail. I mean, jailers just aren't the best mental health providers. Mental health providers are the best ones for that. So that's what I propose for nonviolent, mentally ill people charged with crimes.
This is Lane Lewis. I am the chairman of the Harris County Democratic Party, joined here with Kim Ogg, who is the Democratic candidate for district attorney, as well as Mac McGinnis, a judicial candidate for one of our criminal courts. Kim, why don't you talk about your GRACE program for a second? You have a great idea.
I really want us to change the way we prosecute misdemeanor marijuana. We are wasting millions of dollars incarcerating 12,000 and more people a year at an overall cost of $10 million each year for something that's legal in 2 states and medically available in 24. I want to take those resources and put them to fighting the real criminals, the people who hurt our neighborhoods and our people, rapists, gang members, murderers. The GRACE program utilizes 2 existing laws. Police would use what's called the cite and summons law, which means they're not giving a traffic ticket. They would issue the offender a summons that orders that person to go to court. If the person doesn't go to court, then they have a warrant written for them. If the person does go to court, I want to offer them the opportunity to do community service, clean up our bios. Those bios could be beautiful. Instead, they're bins for our garbage and litter that flow from the streets right into the Galveston Bay. We can have offenders pick garbage up for 2 days and at the same time keep their record clean. Right now, in the last 7 years, 100,000 people have gotten permanent criminal records behind marijuana charges that were misdemeanors only. It makes it harder for them to get jobs, find housing, even get an education. So we really want to hold people accountable for violating the law without crippling their opportunities for life. And that's what the GRACE program would do. It would give them a little bit of grace and would take those taxpayer dollars that we all work so hard for and put them to use, really making the public safer.
Well, this has been a fantastic hour. We have been able to communicate with several thousand people and to get this message out and to answer questions. I hope we've answered most of the questions. I know we have a few more people online, but before you hang up, you'll have an opportunity to leave a message. One last question for you, though. Do you plan on voting a straight Democratic ticket? Let's see here. Well, Chris, what's going on here, buddy? Do you plan on voting a straight Democratic ticket? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no, press 3, you're unsure. Again, do you plan on voting a straight Democratic ticket? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3, you're not sure. This is Lane Lewis. I am your county chair for the Democratic Party. I am joined here by Mac McGinnis, who is one of our fine Democratic candidates for a criminal court bench, as well as Kim Ogg, who is your candidate for district attorney. So I appreciate it. Remember to vote early. Early vote starts tomorrow. If you need information, you can go to harrisdemocrats.com. Again, harrisdemocrats.com. That's Democrats with an S, because there's more than one of us. So go to harrisdemocrats.com for more information. Early vote starts tomorrow and runs through Halloween. If you are 65 or older, or you are disabled, or you think you're going to be out of town, you're eligible to vote by mail. You can call us here at the party, and we can send you an application, and then you can vote from the convenience of your home. Here at the Democratic Party, our number is 713-802-0085. We sure hope you're going to vote a straight Democratic ticket and support Kim Ogg, Mac McGinnis, Wendy Davis, Letitia Vandepute, and all of our fine Democratic candidates. Remember, get out and vote early, and we will talk soon. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed night.